Maria, when something like the Manchester bombing happens, it is tough enough for adults to understand what's happening. You can't understand. How do you explain any of this to children?
And in this unique and tragic situation, kids know who Ariana Grande is. Right. And when they hear that someone went to her concert to hurt and kill people and other kids, some their own age, there are a lot of questions. So our question, of course, is how do you handle this information? What do you do about it? So joining us right now to talk about this is Dr. you are, yes?
Yes.
Dr. David Schonfeld from the National Center for School Crisis and Bereavement is with us. This comes up all the time. Mm-hmm. We've had too many tragedies.
Too many.
And we now live in a world where, I was saying earlier, in the old days, if you kept your kid away from a TV, they didn't know anything. Yeah. It's impossible now.
Well, unless other kids bring it in the room.
Well, no, it's impossible.
Right.
It comes from here and there and everywhere.
Exactly. Actually, I found out about it from my daughter texting me.
Yeah.
So I think we have to recognize that children, just because of their connection to social media, their access to the internet and television, radio, print media, they hear about these events when they're talked about a lot.
So they're going to know about it, whether you think they do or not, is what we're getting at. So now, do you bring it up to them, or do you wait for them to come to you?
Well, I think if something has a lot of public coverage, it's probably best to ask them if they've already heard about it. Because if you don't ask them, they're going to assume that you don't want to talk about it. So, for example, I went to Aurora after the shooting in the movie theater there. And the school system did a wonderful job of being proactive, and they wanted to welcome the children back to the first day of school by starting a conversation about this and their safety. And the question came up, what grade level do they start? And so initially they were thinking kind of mid-elementary school, and I pointed out even kindergartners are going to have heard about Batman. And so they probably will have already heard about it. So one of the staff shared a story. She said she had a child who was about to enter kindergarten. And she told me that initially they didn't tell him anything. They turned off the television when he was in the house. They didn't talk about it and have any conversations, and they thought he didn't know anything. And then a couple days later at dinner, they talked about maybe going to see a Disney film. And they mentioned this at dinner, and the boy said, I don't think we should go. There's someone in movie theaters shooting and killing people.
So that, it filters through.
So they asked,
what.
how did you hear this? And he pointed out during a swim lesson in the pool, another child told him.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he didn't bring up his concerns to his parents, because
You
his
asked
parents
them.
didn't bring up the conversation.
You
So
also
yes.
say, be honest. And I think as parents, we fib a lot with our kids to try to make things better, to avoid things. You're saying this is the wrong thing.
Well, I don't think you want to share a lot of graphic details and information and sensitizing information with children, but the basic information, yes. You want to be honest and direct about it. If you avoid difficult conversations, that means your children are going to avoid difficult conversations with you. And then when they really need your help, whether it's early in childhood or later on, they're not going to see you as someone that really feels comfortable.
But aren't you always, and I know as a parent, I was always afraid of getting ahead of the conversation. In other words, going too far. Giving them information they don't want and can't handle.
Well, that's an excellent point. So I think the way you approach that is you ask kids what they already know. Ask them to explain back their understanding. Then you can find out whether they have misinformation or gaps in information or fears or worries that maybe aren't as necessary. And then you give them a small amount of information so they feel they understand what's happened, and then ask them what questions they have.
All right, so the events are upsetting. It's not the discussion that's upsetting that you're having it.
Right.
Tell me what that discussion sounds like to, let's say, a 7-year-old. I'm a 7-year-old.
Okay.
Bring it up to me.
Right. So I think what you would say is, you know, did you hear about what happened? And they said, yes, I heard that there was some people died in a concert. So you can say, well, the concert was in England, and so you can explain where England is for a young child who's in the United States, for example, and explain that there was someone who had a bomb, and the bomb went off, and a lot of people were hurt, and some people died, and that's why people are sad. So it's very basic information.
And when they say why,
Yes.
why do people do this?
Well, I think one of the things you have to realize is that children ask questions that we can't answer. And I think we need to let them know that we don't know the answer exactly.
You also say avoid the blame. Avoid blaming. Explain that.
Well, a lot of times people want to be able to predict these events, which is very understandable. And sometimes if you can blame a particular person or group, then you can say, well, if you avoid that group or you act against that group, then you'll be safe. The problem is sometimes we extend the blame beyond where it is actually focused. So we want to explain to kids that whoever did this doesn't represent a country, a nationality, a race, an ethnicity, or religion. so that it's sometimes convenient to say, well, if I just fear this particular group, that means otherwise I'm safe. But that doesn't make us safe, and it doesn't
Your child takes it all in, you have a reasonable discussion, and then during the middle of the night, there's crying in the bed.
Right.
And
nightmares. They're angry. They're feelings now.
How do you react?
So the issue is these things are upsetting. They are upsetting, and we don't want to pretend they aren't. So I think parents also need to share that it bothers them as well. Because what we want to do is to teach children to cope with difficult feelings. That means we have to share that sometimes we're concerned, sometimes we're worried. Because the goal is we can't just reassure them that there's no reason to be upset. What we have to do is help them deal with their upset. So we're really trying to promote coping strategies, and the only way we can promote coping strategies is if we allow them to talk about what's upsetting.
It's not perfect, is it?
No.
There's nothing perfect here. You may walk away feeling uneasy, but at least you did it.
It's an uneasy event.
And also part of it is let your child know we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. We're in the next room.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah, and recognize the fact that, children don't always expect you to have the answers to everything. Sometimes they ask rhetorical questions like, why would God allow this to happen?
Right.
Why would anyone want to do it? And sometimes what they really want then is a hug.
I still ask those questions. So
I
don't have the answers.
That too.
Yeah.
I thought too. Sometimes they just want a hug. Sometimes they just want to touch, the reassurance.
All right, Dr. Schonfeld, thank you very, very much for a very calm lesson in what we should do, because I think sometimes we overreact as parents.
And if people want more information, they can go to the website of our center, schoolcrisiscenter.org, and there's a handout that goes into more detail about how to talk about these events.
Thank you. When we come back, did you